Hello! Before we get into today's DCU Daily and DC conversation, I'm going to read you a quote from the actress Reese Witherspoon to show you how inept and how deluded New Hollywood is. Reese Witherspoon says Hollywood will change radically in order to adapt to the shifting attention spans of younger audiences. Reese, this isn't the point, sweetheart. You're obsessed with the TikTok generation. It wouldn't surprise me if you start making movies like TikTok with 30-second scenes and things like that. You always take the wrong messages from your declining industry. Young people are like all of us. They want their emotions heightened. They want to care about their characters. But you're making product, content, not TV shows like 24 and Smallville and Quantum Leap. No, you're just making content, anything. You don't even care what you're delivering. That's the problem. It's not about young people having short attention spans. Young people have always had short attention spans, and we still sat there watching fucking E.T. and Jaws, you lunatics. Anyway, kids don't go to the movies usually. Yes, because you're not giving them a reason to go to the movies, Reese. People are seeing one movie a year in the theatres with their kids. You've got to go where the audience is, not lament the fact that they didn't show up or have what I call old school itis, which is like, well, in my day, well, it just doesn't work that way. So some of what she says here is right. You don't lament the audience for not coming, you lament yourselves. But nowhere in this quote does she admit that New Hollywood have got it wrong. That New Hollywood don't make art, don't make films, don't make compelling television like they used to. They make product and content. That's why families and children are not coming to watch your propaganda and your creative bankruptcy, Reese. It's not because we're saying, oh, the good old days and all of that, right? It's not about that. We're not asking you to go back. We're talking about quality, and you're just not producing it. You're taking the wrong messages here. You're going to continue doing the wrong things, making the wrong things, and all she's trying to say here, she's talking about dumbing down art, dumbing down movies that won't bring young people and families back to the cinema. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome back to Movies TV Mad and Monday's edition of the DCU Daily. Superman is number one on HBO Max. Yippee! Let's all do the conga number one. What a hit! Doesn't matter. I hear this all the time. This streaming show is number one that nobody watched originally. This movie is number one that no one went to see in cinemas. It doesn't matter. There's no profit to be made. Should I tell you why Superman is number one right now? Because all the people who didn't go to see it in the cinema, in movie theatres, are watching it now. It's not a rewatch. They're watching it for the first time. Remember the review I read to you yesterday? That's from a guy who watched it on HBO Max for the first time because he didn't see it in the cinema. Are you getting it yet? So the more it stays at number one, the more it solidifies the fact that not enough people went to see it in cinemas. I think 620 million for a crap movie is amazing. It's sensational. 620 million. Global box office for that piece of shit. I think that's amazing. I think that's great. I mean, they didn't make much of a profit from it, but to think that they made that type of money, and most of it was getting back the money that they spent, of course, but it's crazy, isn't it? I don't even believe they made that type of money. I don't believe them. I don't believe you, WB. But of course, it's convenient, isn't it? That it nearly made around the same as Man of Steel. That's convenient, isn't it? But, yeah, we're just going to have to take WB at their word, aren't we? And believe that they brought in $620 million. But anyway, I think that's amazing for a rubbish movie. It means jack shit. And of course, Collider were the ones bragging that Superman is number one, the number one movie on HBO Max, and it doesn't matter. You can continue with your creative accounting. It really doesn't matter. It's a terrible film. It's the worst Superman film ever made. I'd rather watch Superman and the Mole Men. Actually, it's a very good film, by the way. It's about intolerance, very timely for today's world. When I go onto X and I see these fanatics from the extreme left and right, I think of Superman and the Mole Men and how, people were going after these poor aliens just because they were different. Very, very, very interesting, isn't it? There's lots of fanatics about, isn't there, these days? I'm not a fanatic. I'm a moderate person. I'm balanced. I embrace my enemies. I agree to disagree with people who don't agree with me. I don't go to war against them because I'm not a fanatic. And I'm not on any side here. I'm on the side of entertaining people, of artistic integrity. And the film that James Gunn made has no artistic integrity to it. As I spoke about Reese Witherspoon's quotes, I thought about James Gunn. He's typical of today's new Hollywood. Make anything, make product, put any old shit out there. The Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy worked because it works to his strengths, right? Of what he does. He got away with it. The Suicide Squad works because it plays to his strengths, even though the movie flopped, and there's lots of different reasons for that. Creature Commandos kind of works, even though barely anyone apart from his fans actually watched it, because again, it plays to his strengths. It's fine to do it with characters like that. But the reason he got exposed with Superman, because you can't make a Superman movie like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Creature Commandos, and like the Suicide Squad. Superman is a solo character. And I mean, I love Superman and Lois, but even they tried to do this whole team Superman thing. Berlanti was obsessed with teams, superhero teams, wasn't he? Team Arrow, Team Flash. Funny thing is, Green Arrow is a solo character, Superman is a solo character, Batman is a solo character. I don't want James Gunn anywhere near fucking Batman, but unfortunately, who knows? He could actually get his grubby little mitts on Batman, which would absolutely horrify me. He exposed himself with Superman because it plays to everything he isn't. Superman is everything he isn't. He isn't a character who can just sit there cracking jokes. But it was even worse because he had this guy shouting and being weak. He thinks that's how you make Superman relatable, by making him a punching bag for around 2 hours. That's not who Superman is. I've explained so many times to the people in the back of the room, the way to make Superman relatable is emotionally, giving him emotional obstacles like they did on Smallville. Smallville understood Superman so well because they gave him those emotional obstacles with his relationship with Lex. He had to deal with Lionel and his relationship with Lana and Chloe and Pete. It was very, very cleverly done. He had the challenges of dealing with a new power, and being this ordinary kid who thinks he's human, thinks like a human, but actually he's an alien. And that's what he's got to come to terms with. It was fabulously done. But as I said, in the old days, and we're not talking about the good old days. We're not talking about bringing back the good old days. We're talking about people having the same creative artistry and thinking about what they were doing, like they were doing back then. They really wanted to deliver to the audience. That's what we're talking about, Reese. We're not talking about making the same films as the 70s, 80s, 30s, 40s. We're asking for you guys to have integrity, to make an actual fucking effort. But the truth is, you lot shouldn't even be working in a creative, artistic industry. And neither should James Gunn, because he's a one-trick pony. He got away with his one-trick poniness for a Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, for the Suicide Squad, for Creature Commandos, but he got exposed when he made a Superman film, because Superman can't be James Gunn. He can't. And let's not talk about the awful flying sequences, as I mentioned yesterday. I keep on going on about this, that one shot when Superman's flying and his nose is out here, right? You could have shot that in such a more flattering way for David, but you didn't. You literally made an attractive guy look fucking ugly. Your flying is ugly. Your flying is terrible. Supergirl flopped at the cinema in theatres in 1984, but the flying sequences were beautiful. She was gliding. I think they shot that in Scotland. Beautiful. Beautifully done. As the flying for Superman 78, Superman 2, and Superman 3 was as well. And I spoke about this when he was making the movie. The flying is so important for Superman because he's famous for flying, right? You want to get the flying right, but he's not good enough. This is why he never wanted to direct the movie. He knew he wasn't good enough. He didn't have the tools in his box to actually make a great visual, great storytelling Superman masterclass. He failed. We can debate whether you think Superman was a box office hit or a flop. I know what I think, right? I think 620 million is amazing for a shit movie, but still not enough for a Superman movie. 668 million isn't enough for Man of Steel. The money that Batman vs Superman made, a film with Batman and Superman, should be making, Force Awakens money around $2 billion. That's clear. But Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman didn't make less money than they should because they were bad movies. They made less than they should have done because they had big swings. That's the difference. I'd rather have a movie that has big swings and fails to make the money that the studio wants because of its big swings, but its quality, than a movie that lacks any quality. And that's the difference between Zack Snyder and James Gunn. Let's get that absolutely clear. This is the difference between new Hollywood and old Hollywood. That is the real issue here, boys and girls. We have no quality because they're not making art, apart from a few, like Christopher Nolan, who I offer my congratulations for being the president of the Directors Guild. This is the best news I've heard in a long time. He'll hold those bastards to account, he'll protect his fellow directors, and demand better directors to come through into the industry. More outsiders, more, film school graduates coming through, instead of promoting actresses and calling it diversity as new directors. That's not how the force works, and that's not real inclusion, representation, or diversity as far as I'm concerned. That's just my fucking opinion, by the way. So congratulations to Chris. What an absolute legend. So people like Nolan and Villeneuve and Snyder and, there's a few other really good directors whose names escape me right now. Really good guys. We need more women. We need more talented females to direct. Not let's just pick the next actress that's got lots of followers on Instagram and let her direct the fucking movie. Well, she pretends to direct the movie while an actual director, an AD, does all the fucking donkey work and she gets all the glory, right? Let's be fucking honest about that as well. So I want to see more girls and women directing movies, but I want them to deserve it. Everyone. I don't care who you are, men, white, black, pink, I don't care. No one should be directing a movie who hasn't got the tools in their box to direct the movie. You need to be a communicator. You need to get your message across. You need to inspire people. You need to be a motivator. I want to see talented young women who are graduating from film schools, and I don't care what colour you are, I don't care if you're trans, I don't care if you're gay, I don't give a shit! Because I'm not some extremist nutjob. I'm just a moderate left-winger who loves everyone, right? Even the people who don't love me. I've got love in my heart, not hate, right? Let's get that clear. So I want to see young, female, as well as male and everyone else, film school graduates getting a go. And they're not getting a go right now. But we have a problem here. Because as a DC fan, it's depressing. I mean, basically, Superman is just content. Boom. Man of Tomorrow will be the next piece of content. He pulls out of his backside, colours it in and says, here. and tries to pretend he's made an actual effort. He said it was easier to write Man of Tomorrow than it was Superman. Yes, I guess creative bankruptcy and laziness is very easy to create, James.